Miss Pat, of course, brings her baggie. She has a little Ziploc baggie of their favorite snacks.
And Dixie knows. Dixie's like, yo.
Dixie's like, come on, come on. This is my last meal. Let me have it. Fill me up good. Fill me up real good. I want all them good snacks. Dixie looks tired. You know, in the course of my lifetime, we've had a few animals put down. But Jamie was saying how this is the very first one. The first animal in her entire life. Jamie just turned 40. And in her entire life, she's never put an animal down. Or had one put down. And that just kind of brings it home. All the people that send messages and emails and talk about the heartache and heartbreak that you felt when you had to put your baby down, your dog, your cat, or any animal that you've had that was sick and you knew it was suffering and you had to put it down. I don't think that anyone can ever get a true appreciation, not in a positive appreciation, but you don't really get the full magnitude of how much hurt goes into that until you sit here and look into your own baby's eyes. And you know that it has to be done. The goats are gathered in around the hay with Dixie and Beverly. That's kind of cute. Let's walk over a little bit closer. This morning everyone's having a snack of hay, which is cute. We've not allowed the goats out into the wooded pasture today because we're going to have the vet coming over in an hour or so. And we're going to move Dixie and Beverly over into a different pasture. And that's the same pasture we're going to cremate Dixie in once the vet finishes her procedure and Dixie lays down for the last time. I'll show you real fast what the plans are. So I came out this morning and mowed, made everything look nice and pretty around the yard. I went down and mowed along the driveway as well, down by the road. Just, I don't know, it's important to me. But, so everyone knows this over here is Dixie's favorite pasture. This is where she spent the majority of her time. I would say about the entire winter. I do have a couple of big birds in here now that I have to move out. Because whenever the vet gets here, I don't want them having to work around the birds. You know, the birds are not a threat. These birds here are no threat whatsoever. But they are curious. And we don't need birds walking up amongst the vet and the vet tech and doing all their nonsense. We don't. But this is the pasture that we're going to cremate Dixie in. And so what our plans are is obviously when Dixie comes over, she's going to want to be inside. She's not wanted to be outside in the last several days. She's going to want to be inside. But my friends, as difficult as it is to talk about, you cannot administer the that concoction inside there, because if she in fact lays down inside the loafing shed, there'll be no way to get her out. You know, you can't pick up a horse and move her. So we're going to have to, as much as she's not going to like it, we're going to have to walk her out, hopefully with a handful of snacks that she'll still munch on. And I told Jamie, find her favorite spot. I think that it'd be best to do it over here close to the stump. A nice shady spot, y'all. This is a beautiful spot. And I think if we could do it over here, we wouldn't be too close to any trees, because the cremation fire is going to have to burn for several days. And so whenever we've done other animals, especially goats, that's something you can do in one day. You get a hot fire going, and you can burn a goat in a day. But I remember back to after Hurricane Harvey, when we had so many cows and horses and goats that had to be cremated. And I remember, guys, I was the one that did it. I was the one that did all of that. That was my job. I piled them all together. And now the cows, we couldn't move. We had no tractors. So we had to do the cows and horses where they laid. But the goats, we piled together and did that. But I think that this spot here will be a nice spot. It's far enough away from all of the trees where it's not going to affect them. It's a beautiful spot. It's not too close to the loafing shed. And this is, in fact, the pasture where Dixie has spent many, many a day and night. But what I will do is we'll lay Dixie down, and then once she's down, we'll have to position her to where her head faces the north. And that's a little bit odd for a lot of folks, but that just is kind of a traditional thing. The horses, I understand what you're going to say. Lester, when you bury, it has to be facing the east for when Christ returns. And guys, this is horses, and it's not the same. So I know there's traditions for humans, and there's different traditions for horses. And so horses' heads always face the north. And don't make me give you all the specifics, but with that, then she'll be able to find her way home, okay? So just bear with me on that one, but we'll make sure that she's positioned so her head is facing the north. And then I will bring all of the materials that I have accumulated and gathered up to put around her, and then we'll start that cremation process. And I will man those fires throughout the day. I have no plans to go to I'm a Survivor today. I told Jamie I'll be here the entirety of the day. And we think that once the vet and the vet tech leaves, and that's just what I will do. I'll spend my day manning the fire. And I do have several things I can push over with my tractor. There's several small limbs here and some old hay. But we're going to do it right. Now, these birds have to be moved out of here. I would like to do that right now. I just don't know. The problem is, if I open the gate to move birds out, I can tell you right now that little munchkin goat's going to want to run in. And then once he runs in, that right there is going to follow. And then Mr. Huck will follow. It's hard, y'all. It's hard to manage everybody. These birds don't have to leave. These are not troublemakers here. That's Tina. She ain't gonna bother nobody. Wanda's the one you don't want to walk up behind the vet and start pecking on her. Wanda's right there wanting to come in. But the vet will be here within the hour. Listen to me, it's a beautiful day. It's just a gorgeous day. It's not hot this morning, even though we've had a couple of days in the 90s already with high humidity. Today's nice and cool. I got ivy out there rolling around. The day's nice and cool, and that's good. I'm noticing there's some eggs, and I only noticed those for the first time today when I come out to mow. You see, put the lawnmower and I mowed over this pasture. Just kind of, it wasn't bad. It's not high grass. I just wanted it to be all smooth and pretty for the cremation and for Dixie. But I did notice there's a collection of eggs, and I don't know who is laying them, but I'm happy to know that no one's laying on them. No one's sitting on them. This is what happens. They start these communal, they call them a communal nest. And they all start coming over here to lay. And then at some point, they'll expect Carl to sit his little butt down on top of them and hatch them all. And we are not going to have that. We're not going to have that. I'll actually offer those to the vet and the vet tech. I offer eggs to anyone who'll take them, seriously. I know there have been people who've emailed and asked for me to send them. But if you remember, I sent eggs to the Arms family in the mail, and a couple of those eggs burst. Guys, they don't handle them with care. You can put Fragile all over the box, and it's not going to matter. Those guys are going to toss them boxes around. They don't care. And you would not want to have all that mess. One of them ostrich eggs breaks inside in transport. It's going to be a mess. Looky there. Them are Pebbles babies. Y'all are Pebbles babies. Y'all look nothing like your mother. Look at the bellies. My goodness gracious. My goodness gracious. You know, this is the first animal. Well, it's the first large animal that we will have lost ever since Hurricane Harvey flooding. And it will be the first animal in a long time. I mean, well, it'll be the first animal that Jamie has ever had to put down. And for all the folks who email and tell us the stories and the heartbreak and the hurt that you've dealt with, and when you put one of your babies down, unless you've never done that or had that done, it's hard to grasp how difficult it is. All right, we got the horses into the pasture we want them in. It only took a little bit of enticing. Those nay nibblers, I absolutely love those, along with some carrots Jamie pulled out of her garden. And then we got the big birds. They're doing fine. They're going to be okay for a few hours here. You'll be okay for a few hours, Carl. You and your family will be fine in there. That's a pretty confined quarters for all them big birds. But they're fine. They're not fighting and stuff. They're good. And then we got our goats. And we're going to leave everyone here for the duration of today. And then once my fire's controlled and everyone can kind of make their way around, we'll do that then. Wanda, be sweet. Wanda. Oh, there comes Mr. David and Miss Pat. They wanted to come by and love on Dixie a little bit and offer a few treats. Miss Pat, of course, brings her baggie. She has a little Ziploc baggie of their favorite snacks.
Dixie knows. Dixie's like, yo.
She's like, come on. This is my last meal. Let me have it. Fill me up good. Fill me up real good. I want all them good snacks. At this point, no one cares what I eat, do we?
She had cookies and beer for breakfast.
Yeah, cookies and beer for breakfast, Mr. David. Breakfast of
drinking a beer with
Yeah. She loves beer.
Hey, and that little one will drink a beer too. You got to watch her because she'll get
Yeah.
She'll have her tongue hanging out in no time, boy. She just. So Miss Pat and Mr. David, you know, they live across the pasture here, and they have made friends with the Longhorns. And Miss Pat has her own special treats. They drive around their little golf cart. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen this or not. We've talked about it a few times, but their golf cart there in the back end has that little compartment. See that little compartment? And in that compartment, Miss Pat keeps different snacks for all the different animals. So she has one snack for the horses and donkeys, one snack for the Longhorns, a different snack for the big birds. And so she's always found a way to make everybody feel very accommodating and welcome along that fence line. And Miss Pat is a softie. Now, Mr. David's a man, and but Miss Pat is a softie, y'all. And the first time I realized that was when I took Pearl and Jolene home back to I'm a Survivor. And I didn't talk much about it in the video, so Miss Pat had no idea. And she never had a chance to say goodbye. And she loved Jolene. She loved Pearl, Gracie. And I loaded them up one day and hauled them home, and I never took time to tell Miss Pat they're going to be leaving. And I know that hurt Miss Pat. That hurt her something bad. And so we made sure to let them know that, hey, we've kept them in the loop on what's going on with everybody. And that was not very neighborly of me, guys. You know, sometimes you don't think. I can use the excuse of me being a man. Men don't think. And for all the time that Miss Pat's been up there along that fence line, loving on them babies, and all of a sudden one day they're all gone, and she never had a chance to say goodbye. That was wrong of me.